Hi, welcome to the second episode of How to Work When No One is Watching, the Home Edition. I'm Ellen Goodwin. I'm a productivity trainer, speaker, and author, but most importantly, I am your guide through this 10-part series of how to successfully work from home, especially when no one is watching. Now, today's question is about focus. There's too much going on. What am I supposed to do to focus better or to focus more? Well, let's first look at what focus is. Focus is basically a lack of multitasking. Multitasking is the enemy of focus. So multitasking, we all kind of know what it is, but what's really going on in your brain when you multitask? Imagine that your brain is a house. Okay, it's a house up here, and you can do certain things in different rooms. Okay, those are different regions of your brain where you can do things. Now, I'm sure this has happened to you at some point in time. Let's say you're on the phone, you're talking on the phone, and then you start reading an email. Oh yeah, I'm checking the email. You're still talking, you're checking the email, and after a while, you realize you have no idea what you're talking about or what you're listening to. And you have no idea what you're reading. That's multitasking. What's happening there is the area where you can read, let's say that's the living room, the room in your brain, of your house brain. It's the living room, and that's the place you can read. But you can talk and listen when you're in the bedroom. But you can't talk and listen when you're in the living room, and you can't read when you're in the bedroom. So in order to do each of those tasks, you have to move from room to room. And each time you move, you use up a little energy and you use up a little time. And that is exactly what happens when you multitask. When you switch from doing one thing to another thing, while you think you're doing a great job, each time you have to come back and refocus, you're using up a little energy and you're using up a little time. And there's no way to focus in that situation. So that's why you need to overcome multitasking in order to focus. In order to focus, your brain has to be in one room of your brain house, and it needs to stay there. So how do we do that? The simplest way is to plan a focus session. Now, I have clients, I have people that say, I can't focus for 8 hours. Surprise, no one can. Your brain's not equipped to do that, but your brain is equipped to focus for short periods of time. And when I say short, sometimes it's only 5 minutes. Sometimes it's up to 45 minutes, up to 90 minutes. You get to decide how long you focus. And right now, when you're working from home, chances are those big chunks of 90 minutes aren't going to happen very often. But you're going to have 5 minutes, you're going to have 10. You can set up Pomodoros, which I'm sure people have heard of, which are working for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. And that's sort of the basis for any focus session. You plan how long you're going to focus, and then you take a break, and then if necessary, you go back to doing that. Now, I think the best way to plan a focus session is to have a timer. And this is my favorite kitchen timer. I'm a big fan of kitchen timers for one very good reason. Kitchen timers eliminate moments of choice. You've got no choice when you put this on and away you go. Okay, so it's not like if I was going to put it on my phone. On my phone, if I pick up my phone to set a timer, it's a moment of choice. there might be a notification I might need to look at. So that's a moment of choice. But a timer like this, you just set the timer and go. So let's say I'm going to do a 20-minute focus session. So I know I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. But before I start, I'm going to take a Post-it note. It doesn't have to be a Post-it note. It can be any sort of thing you want to write down on. And I'm going to write down the main thing I want to accomplish in that focus session. That number one thing, and I'm going to write it across here. Then I'm going to write 2 other tasks. So that, I've got this big one that I'm going to take care of, and then I've got 2 other ones. And why is that? Well, let's say during 20 minutes, I find that I can just rock through this first one. So I've still got time left for focusing. If I already know what are some options that I could do, I can jump right into those and not waste time. I don't have a moment of choice where my brain goes, wonder what we're going to work on. And then boom, focus is gone because I'm out of my brain room. This way, I just go to the next task. I finish that. I go to the next one. Maybe you're not going to finish all three of them, but having options when you finish the first one is going to enable you to make that focus session really work for you. So you've got your timer, you've got your list of things you're going to do. I want you to remember an acronym. And this is an acronym that's going to work for every focus session you ever do. And that is STING. And it's like the singer for you too, but that's not what it stands for. STING stands for select one thing. Time yourself, right? Ignore everything else. Sort of the basis for focus. No breaks, and then give yourself a reward at the end. Now, STING applies to any sort of focus session, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 20 minutes, whether it's 45 minutes. You select your thing, your one thing that you're going to focus on, and then you have your list of your other things. Time yourself. Ignore everything else. No breaks, and then give yourself a reward. Boom. That's how you focus. So pick however long you need to focus. Be prepared. That's the other thing you really need to know, is to be prepared for any type of focus session. You might find out that a meeting ends early and you've got 15 minutes. Well, if you've got your list, you set your timer for that 15 minutes, focus, and use that 15 minutes. The magic thing about focus is it expands your perception of time. It expands what you can get done. When you're not going back and forth between the rooms in your house, your brain house, you're going to be able to focus in with laser focus so that you can move yourself forward much better than if you were jumping back and forth. Focus isn't really always hard to find. It's just a matter of being prepared, having a way to time yourself to make sure that you're in that focus zone, in that one room for a certain amount of time, so you ignore multitasking. So my call to action today is start your list. Have a list of what you want to focus on. Have a way to time yourself and start grabbing sections of time that otherwise you wouldn't use, that you would multitask on. Keep your brain in one room, focus. That's it for our second episode. Be with me tomorrow when I've got another question I'm going to answer for you from working from home. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me at ellen@ellengoodwin.com or put your questions in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow.